Smackdown 10/27/23 on FS1. Roman Reigns returns to WWE. It is sad that we have to say that every time he shows up. He's the champion! I would hope he shows up occasionally! But he comes back. His big return to FS1. It's being deemed as Roman Reigns, but when it was all said and done, dude be looking up at the lights. Iyo Sky's next challenger for that title has been announced, and as much as most of us love this gal, there's no way she should be taking that title off of Iyo right now. Iyo is having really good matches. Iyo is on a roll. Iyo is winning those matches. And for the first time in a long time, somebody other than the name Gunther or Roman has a prestigious title reign. We're going to talk about the ladies and what's happening at Crown Jewel, set up by what happened last night. The Street Profits finally have found their mojo. BC's about to find his with a cup of 2-3 coffees. So I'm gonna do that. You guys smash those ups. Let BC know you're fully amplified. Grab your beverages. Lock in those earbuds. And I say we all get amplified. Smackdown 10/27/23. The Amplified review begins now. Down FS1 begins with a funny and just a little bit of a perfect start as Roman Reigns makes his way through the curtain and he holds up his title at the top of the ramp. But instead of pyro, LA Knight's theme music hits and Knight walks right past Roman without even acknowledging him. That's why I say this was a little perfect. This was semi-perfect. Because Roman Reigns' entire heel run has been about acknowledging him. And who better to just not acknowledge him at all than the cocky, arrogant up-and-comer with the quickest rise in the business, as he's quick to tell you, LA Knight. And when I say he didn't acknowledge him, not even a side eye. LA Knight just walked right by Roman like he wasn't even there. Interrupts his theme music, cuts off the pyro, doesn't even allow him a chance to hold up that championship title. It was perfect. And then it got even better. Because this was a contract signing. So, of course, there's the table in the ring. You got Nick Aldis with his stupid little clipboard with the contract that needs to be filed out. But LA Knight takes a seat at the head of the table, reserved for either an Aldis or Pierce, which usually is booted for a Roman Reigns. But LA Knight took the seat at the head of the table last night. It was beautiful. Both times, when Knight walked by Roman, and when he took a seat at the head of the table, Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns were like they just saw a ghost or some shit. They were literally like, who does this kid think he is? Who are you? What is your name? Do you know what seat you are seated at? It was beautiful. The look on Roman and Paul's face just told the complete story. But I like what Roman did. He stayed in true character, what he's been doing the last 3 years. He laughs it off. Because in his mind, he truly does not believe this rookie, I use that in quotes. Of course, LA Knight's been doing this for decades. He's over 40 years old. But to Roman Reigns, he's nothing but a kid, right? A rookie who's got no chance to win this championship. So, Roman Reigns humors LA Knight. He allows him to sit at the head of the table. And Roman takes a side seat. Right? Roman's the sidekick, the side chick in this segment. But he's laughing it off. The contract itself is signed pretty quickly, and Aldis exits the ring with exactly what he came for, the 2 signatures. But LA keeps Roman there for a cup of 2-3 extra minutes. Because Roman is going to hear why LA Knight is going to take that championship. Knight's promo was good last night. As I've stated in previous podcasts, when he's trying to deliver those quick sound bites a la Stone Cold or The Rock, it can be rushed, and he fumbles and he stumbles a little bit. When he's trying to do that quick verbiage, sound bites, for something that may be printed on a t-shirt in a month or a quick headline the next day, that's when he's actually not at his best. So how ironic. The one thing that people think makes LA Knight so good on the mic, the quick sound bites, the printed on the t-shirt, that's actually the weakest part of his game. When he calms it down and tells a story, LA Knight is actually captivating. So that's what he did last night. Why am I going to win that title? The road that I took. You're going to listen to me. He said you're going to acknowledge me for a minute, Roman. Because you need to understand I'm taking the championship. And again, Roman playing it off beautifully, just laughing it off. In fact, when it was Roman's time to speak, he was already pissed off that he didn't leave 5 minutes ago when Nick Aldis left. He's pissed off that he had to listen to 5 minutes of LA Knight's verbiage, so he flips the contract table on top of LA Knight. Beats up LA Knight a little bit, sets up another table, struggled a little bit getting that second table into the ring, but he finally did set it up. But by the time he turned around, LA Knight had taken him out, gained control, but Jimmy Uso was waiting in the wings. And that's exactly what Uso did. Uso starts putting the attack on LA Knight. This allows Roman Reigns to escape, but Jimmy Uso at that point is no match for LA Knight. So LA Knight sends Jimmy Uso crashing through the table that Roman set up. Oh, the irony. And Jimmy took a hard crash through that table, too. Roman's face shows a look of concern, as Knight has shown it won't be easy for the bloodline this upcoming Saturday. What is it? Next Saturday, Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel. It's not going to be easy. Now, we all know there's not a chance, no chance in hell, that Roman is walking out of Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel without that championship. We all know that. But when you're rushing something with just 2 weeks to build it, because this is rushed, you should have saved LA Knight and Roman Reigns for something that's going to have a proper build. This is a big star in the company. You're going to need this match in the future. This would be better suited at a Rumble. This would be better suited at a Chamber. But to rush this in 2 weeks to Saudi Arabia for a Saturday afternoon Beeline show, of course this is not done correctly. But if you have one show to really pile drive this home, that LA Knight possibly has a shot. Again, we know he doesn't, but at least to the casual audience, LA Knight sold it pretty good. Roman with the concerned look on his face. And later in the night, it set up Jimmy versus LA Knight one-on-one in the main event, and Roman would be the one looking up at the lights when it was all said and done. So we'll get to that just a little bit. But a good start to SmackDown. Not one of the best starts. Could have been better 1,000%. But man, we all knew that LA Knight and Roman Reigns would be electric. That's why we wanted a longer build. That's why we wanted to hold off on this. But it's what this company does. They rush a lot. And they don't know where they're going next with a lot of puzzle pieces, so they just stuff them wherever they can fit them. Even if they don't belong there, as long as they can fit somehow, shove that puzzle piece in, then to them, as long as they make that Saudi Arabia money, man, and they bring in those big matches, they're happy. And that's a big payday for WWE. Moving on, the LWO, Escobar and Carlito are the representatives. They're taking on Ford and Dawkins of the Street Profits, representatives of the street business. Heel Street Profits just feel better. There's no other way to put it. Their entrance alone is no longer nauseating. Smiling and dancing around a ton of red beer cups like a couple old dudes trying to kick it back at their old fraternity. That's all I think of, the older dudes that are left high school or even college, and they're trying to party back with the kids again. They left that behind, man, and they just feel like they're there for, here's a crazy concept, business. A hurt business. I like this, man. And again, they don't want to be considered a bootleg or a secondary her business. I like the term street business. As long as you book them correctly, I can get behind Lashley and Street Profits. And again, the entrance alone of the Street Profits, and BC was like, yep, this is it. And they let him go for nearly 10 minutes. And just the way they're wrestling now, I'm telling you, man, so, you know, for newer fans, they don't really see the difference, right? Okay, they turn bad guy. They turn good guy. Does it really matter in 2023? Absolutely. Some people were born to be something different personality-wise in pro wrestling. They just were. Maybe there's something completely different IRL, right? They hold doors for little old ladies. They're constantly buying the person in front of them and behind them a coffee. That's great. But some people have to be a heel to find themselves in the pro wrestling business. The Rock, Roman Reigns, two prime examples from the NOI family. / Johnson family, you get the point. They needed to turn heel to find themselves because Rocky Maivia wasn't going to do it and forced face Roman wasn't going to cut it. The Street Profits can't just smile and dance to the ring and expect us to go, oh man, put all the titles on them. This is what the heel pop, I'm telling you, man, the entrance alone, you just see the change in this team. And then the attitude and the personality, it all follows suit. So they let him go nearly 10 minutes. Backstage, Rey Mysterio is watching the TV, watching his LWO La Familia, and he gets attacked by Logan Paul. And it was instantly, too. I didn't even see Rey Mysterio beforehand. So I didn't see him watching the TV just the TV backstage. I didn't see him watching it 2-3 times beforehand, setting up the Logan attack. They just show Rey, and then 2 seconds later, Logan attacks him. Maybe if you spend a few more times, but maybe, hey, BC, actually, they did show Rey a couple times. Maybe they did. It's possible. But Logan Paul takes out Rey Mysterio and tells him, that's all it takes, just one shot, and I take your championship. And Rey's down and out. Now, they're seeing this on the Tron, all 4 participants in the ring. So Escobar tells Carlito to go help Rey. This leaves Escobar all by himself, middle of the ring, and he ends up taking what I believe they called Revelation, the finisher from the Profits. Profits end up taking the W. These Profits are for real. That's all I'm going to say, man. That's where I'll leave this. LWO, they don't have a place for them. They don't know what they're doing with them. They're just going to take all these dudes. Maybe they look the same, or talk the same, or just stuff you in one faction. This is what WWE has done for the longest time. In the Attitude Era, they did this too. There was 10 different factions. You had the biker clique over here, the Nation of Domination was over here, Los Boricuas was over here. You had it all, man. So, I mean, I don't know. You kind of thought, like, if Carlito does show up, watch them stuff him in the LWO, not have his own identity. Well, that's what this company does. Anyway, I think the real story here, unfortunately for the LWO, another loss, and they have no direction, but it's the Street Profits, man. This is what I've been waiting for. There's talent, obviously. Montez is a shooting star. We already know that. Dawkins, there was potential, but he was like the anchor of Montez. He was holding Montez down. Now, heel Dawkins, this is equal level playing field with Montez, guys. Equal. This is the better for Dawkins more than anything, but the team itself. Can't speak more praise about what I saw last night. I can speak. I need more coffee. Backstage, Paul Heyman shows Roman Reigns the Green Bay Packers Championship title. Those new NFL titles that the NFL or WWE is now selling in partnership with the NFL. And there's that beautiful Green Bay Packers Championship. I didn't even know they were in Milwaukee at the time. I found out later. It's just one of those things. I really don't care where they are, or what city you're in, what town you're in. It's all going to be the same, right? The people that show up to these type of events, a lot of casual fans, they come in and out. A lot of families, a lot of fans that are just going to scream real loud and cheer and boo. That's fine. But it's not the fans that know the ins and outs of the wrestling business or industry. So I really don't care. All these smaller towns are pretty much the same to BC when it comes to wrestling fans. So I never really catch the town. So when I saw the Green Bay Packers championship, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? They putting the Green Bay Packers, where are they? They got to be in Wisconsin, sure enough. But Paul Heyman, he was funny. He says he's going to present this to LA Knight because it's the closest that he or the Packers will get to winning a title. And BC had the pop for that, man. As a massive Green Bay Packers fan on this channel, I review Green Bay Packers games. I started this season reviewing the NFL. And again, more specifically, just the Green Bay Packer games. If I expand that, we'll see in the future. But so for BC to see that championship and have the Green Bay Packers inserted in the storyline, I thought was beautiful. In the past several weeks, Roman and Jimmy Uso have been doing some football verbiage, right? Talking about calling audibles, who's the starting quarterback, XYZ. The X's and O's of strategy on how you're going to execute plays in the wrestling business. I love it. So it's been pretty fun. And Jimmy actually comes into the locker room of Roman, or his office, his lounge. And he lays down on the couch. He's like, Oos, we got to call an audible. And Roman's like, an audible? What are you talking about? And Paul's got the championship title of the Green Bay Packers. So, you know, they inserted some football. It's Fox, FS1, NFL. There's obviously that connection. I'm cool with it. And it's just fun talking about the Green Bay Packers on WWE television. Even if they're ripping them, I'm cool with it. And this year, the Green Bay Packers deserve to be ripped. Because we suck. And at this rate, we ain't going to see a championship in the near future. But anyway, the funniest part was when Paul Heyman took out the Green Bay championship. And Roman looks at it and goes, "Ooh, ew, what is that?" He said, "Ew, what is that?" I'm like, oh, shut up, man. That's one of the best looking NFL titles there is for WWE, actually, man. I say that not with any bias at all. It's a beautiful looking championship, that Green Bay title. Anyway, so the Green Bay Packers were absolutely dissed and pissed on, and I couldn't have loved it more. Because, hey, if you want to include the Green Bay Packers in a storyline, I'm cool. Or in a promo, or just on television, BC's here for it. Hour 1 ends with Shotzi defeating tag team champion Chelsea Green via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Fruit Roll-Up. Chelsea, just casually goes to pin Shotzi, and Shotzi puts her in that crucifix-type hold-em-down pin, which I just call a roll-up, because you're just holding your opponent down. You didn't put a move on them. You're just holding their arms down. Ah, come on, I can't get up, guys. And sure enough, your tag team champion, Chelsea Green. This may be one of the most miserable title runs I've ever seen, and that's saying something, because we say that for almost every title reign. That's not Gunther and Roman. And we say that for certainly every tag team title reign. And most certainly for the ladies. But this takes the cake, man. This is the icing on it. This is the strawberries on top, the cherries on top. This is the delivery of the cake. This title reign, I mean, they're just losing every single week, every show. These are champions, supposedly. Anyway, moving on to the second hour, John Cena. John Cena's interrupted. Middle of the ring, he's interrupted by Paul Heyman. The focus of this promo is clearly to hype up Cena and Sikoa's match for Crown Jewel, which was announced earlier in the day by People Magazine, in case you didn't hear it the first 700 times by Michael Cole last night. People Magazine broke the news that John Cena is going to take on Solo Sikoa. Of course, they want People Magazine doing that, probably the management of John Cena, because, you know, he's a Hollywood star now, so People Magazine has to break it. Not even Sports Illustrated. It's got to be the Hollywood magazine, People. So anyway, Cena versus Solo. We all knew that match was forming for weeks now. The vehicle they're using to garner interest for this matchup is Solo's Samoan Spike, taking away Cena's greatest strength, according to Paul Heyman, which is connecting with the universe, speaking, talking to the universe, because he's the best to ever do it. So Cena takes it all in. Cena is then attacked by Solo from behind. I think he actually got a Samoan Spike as well. So if that happens next Saturday, they're telling you that could be more than just a pinfall. that could be the end of Cena. And it could be. Maybe he rides off into Hollywood. They're starting to fledgle through all of this Hollywood strike BS. I mean, it was for good purposes, don't get me wrong. Equal pay for the writers and all that, and that's extremely important, coming from a writer myself. But, I mean, this thing has gone way too long, and for these sides not to come to an agreement is just stupid. So they've been making progress, and it looks like this could be Cena's. I haven't heard of more dates. I will look more into it. But he could put over Solo. That would be massive. I also don't want Cena just coming back and putting everybody over, because I don't think Cena's going to stop for the next few years. I know he said it's soon, his retirement, and his last match is soon. But John Cena's one of those dudes, he'll do this for another couple, 2-3 more years up front. And I don't want him just losing every time he comes back, because then it loses relevance and prestige. Up next, Dragon Lee defeats Cedric Alexander. 2 faces going at it, by the way. Dragon Lee and Cedric. So you know it has to end with the shaking of the hands. Lee wins this matchup. Like an inadverted, like, DDT or something like that. They didn't announce what it was, but I think it was like an inadverted DDT. Dragon Lee wins this match. And again, 2 faces. So they look at each other afterwards and they just shake hands. This has to stop. Is anyone competing for anything anymore? Does anyone care anymore? Is this still pro wrestling? We're all just going in there to have a good exhibition match. We'll shake hands at the end. Face versus face. We're starting to see more heel versus heel matches lately, too. This has to stop with the shaking of the hands. We're seeing nonsensical matches just for the purpose of putting on wrestling matches and seeing sequences and moves. And then afterwards, we're seeing 2 dudes nobody cares about shake hands. BC, I like Cedric. BC, I like Dragon Lee. Of course, okay, we all do. Doesn't mean anybody cares about him. Company hasn't made him relevant. So putting him in a nonsensical match with no real build at all, backstage, they like came across each other, like, let's have a match. And then afterwards, they shake hands, and that makes everybody go home going, wow, Dragon Lee! Cedric is my favorite! Stop with the shaking hands, face versus face BS. Face versus face? Face versus... I need coffees with an S at this point. Luckily, the second hour, there wasn't really a lot, man. It was John Cena and Paul Heyman's promo. Cena being taken out by Solo, Dragon Lee and Cedric on a face versus face match, and then they shake hands. And then Bianca Belair came out for a promo, says she'll be facing Iyo Sky, at Crown Jewel. That's it. She came out like a diamond mine, this white fucking tight outfit, all these diamonds and jewels and gems, looking like the gem that she always does. But there was no substance. I'm going to take out Iyo. Great. Nobody wants Iyo to lose that championship. I'll tell you that right now. Iyo is on a roll right now, having really good matches and winning those matches. A championship is actually looking like a championship and feeling like it. And it's not Gunther and Roman. What a concept. The main event, LA Knight defeats Jimmy Uso. That's really it, guys. BFT, Blunt Force Trauma, LA Knight wins this match. Now, I do like the finish, the actual closing of the show, because just like a week or 2 ago when Roman took out LA Knight from out of nowhere, right? LA Knight's on the top of the turnbuckle celebrating a victory. Maybe it was like a tag match. He gets off the turnbuckle, turns around, bam, wham, bam, zoom, wabaka. He's taken out by a spear, devastating by Roman. Well, Roman went for it again this week. But this time, LA Knight, he saw him, man, right through that side eye. He saw him, and he dodges it. Roman goes right into the turnbuckle. Sure enough, right into BFT, Blood Force Trauma, to Roman Reigns. This was beautiful, man, because you honestly thought for a second, damn, Knight's being taken out again. No. Dodged it this time. Blood Force Trauma. Very well done. And we close out the show with LA Knight talking shit to Roman. Now listen, Roman's keeping that title next week. LA Knight is going to lose this match, and that's another reason why I don't like this match happening so soon. LA Knight should not be losing a match of this magnitude. But he's going to have to, and that's clear. All of this, 3.5 years, was not to give to LA Knight on a Saturday afternoon at a Beeline event. So now, the big issue now is, how do you go about this, making LA Knight still look really good coming out of it? Well, it starts last night with LA Knight taking out Roman. LA Knight talking that shit. And that's what we got. That's the review. That's what I got for you guys, man. There's a lot of business to attend to. Hopefully I'll be back in the studio at some point next week. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace!